and we'll start. And that packages we have completed, that is Java inheritance. What is Java inheritance? In Java, the Java is object oriented programming language. That means Java have some oops concept, and that oops concept have inheritance is the part of Java oops. Just a minute. What is Java oops? Java oops have some if someone is asking you what is the features of Java, that means object oriented programming language. And within that object oriented programming language, what are the concepts? There are some concepts in the oops programming. And that program oops is a methodology. That what is the oops? Oops is a methodology to design a program using classes and objects. It simplifies the software development and maintenance. Okay. And some object oriented concept in Java have some. And that object oriented programming concept is like there are 6-7 object oriented programming concept. Please everyone note it down. Number 1 is abstraction. Number 2 is encapsulation. Number 3 is polymorphism. Number 4 is inheritance. Number 5 composition. 6 is association. 7 is aggregation. And from this oops concept, that abstraction that we have done, encapsulation that we have done, and polymorphism also we have done, that the method overloading and overriding, that method name can be same, but the name of the in terms of parameters, in terms of number of parameters, that method will be identified, that we have done in the previous session. That is the polymorphism. And today we will do that Java inheritance, that is a concept of object oriented programming. That abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, and that inheritance, these 4 are the most important object oriented concept in Java. So Java inheritance, what is the Java inheritance? In Java, it is possible to inherit attributes and method from one class to another. We group the inheritance concept into 2 categories. That is child class, that is subclass, or the child class, that the superclass, and that the parent class. That subclass, what is subclass? The class that inherit from another class. The class that inherit from another class. And the superclass, the class being inherited from. To inherit it from a class, use the extend keyword. So using the subclass, we inherit all the methods and all the classes of superclass by using extend keyword. We will see the example. That's the simple theory. That class vehicle protected string brand string. What is the string brand equals to Ford? Hello everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, that protected string brand equals to Ford, double quotes, semicolon. What is this?
Protected method.
Protected, is it a method?
No, sorry, it is sorry, what is that?
Specifier.
Specifier. Yeah.
That string is the name, that the variable, type of variable, brand,
Yeah.
this is the variable name, that Ford is the value of that variable. And that public void, that void type method honk, and system.out.println, that to string we want to print. And class, that's the class vehicle, and that class, another class is car. That vehicle class is the parent class. of that class car. That class car is the subclass or the child class. That is the vehicle, that is the parent class, and that car is the child class or the subclass. And that is the vehicle class is the superclass. That class car extends vehicle. That means in that theory, subclass, the class that inherit from another class. And that superclass, what is the superclass class or the parent class? The class being inherited from. That means that vehicle class is the parent class or the superclass, and that class car is the subclass of vehicle class. So that class car is extending using that extends keyword. What is inherit? Inherit, that means that we are inheriting all the datas, all the class methods and all the variables and all the methods we are inheriting, we are extracting to the another class. Whatever method and whatever variable is available in that vehicle parent class, we are extending all the, we are extending, that means we are extracting all the that we want to use, that method, that honk method, and that string brand for that variable, we want to use that in the class car. So when we want to use that that variable and that method in the another class, that time we need to inherit to that class, inherit all the data that we want to in that class, that where we want to use it, or we want to call it by using that extend keyword. So basically class vehicle, that variable and that method, we are extending or we are extracting the all the method and variable into that class car, and that class vehicle, that is the parent class or the super class, and that class car is the subclass or the child class of vehicle class, because we are inheriting vehicle to the car class. That one of the most famous example of inheritance is father and son. Like we all have fathers, and fathers have some properties. Hello everyone, are you listening?
Yes, yes.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, father have some property, we all have fathers have some property, and that property, after our father, that property will belongs to us. No third person can, don't have anyone else, do not have that that authority, so they can use that property, that use your father's property. That time you will object. That means that the father, that the or whatever the property that father have, and suppose your father have your father have 100 rupees, and you also have 100 rupees. Can I say that 100 rupees that your father have, that is also your, because that is your father's property? That means what? That means we are saying that means we are, what we are doing, that means we are using, or we are extracting that 100 rupees that my father have. We are we have that authority to use it. Like that vehicle class, that is the super class that or the parent class of that class car. That class car, that whatever the property that vehicle class have, that class car want to use that property. When we want to use that property, whatever the property have the super class have, that we want to use it in the child class or the subclass, that time we need to use that extend keyword. By using that extend keyword, we can use that that property of the superclass. And here in that class car, there is a private string model name equals to Mustang. That is another variable that is available in the class car. Public static void main string args, that is the main method. And car my car, why we are creating that car my car equals to new car? Can anyone say that why we are creating that car class is the that having a main method, that means that is a main method, that is the main class, but still we are creating an object that car my car, that name of that object is the my car equals to new car. Why we are creating that my car, that object of that car class? Why we are creating that object of that car class? Can anyone say? Can anyone answer? Because we have done this many times. Hello.
Yes,
Why
sir.
why we are creating that my car, that object of that car class? Why?
To inherit the property, to
For
achieve the
for inheriting. Why we are creating? Why we are inheriting? We should create an object of that vehicle class, but here we are creating an object of that car class, that the subclass.
because the all the properties having vehicle having it is inherited in the car class. So we are creating car object
To call
instead
the
of
car method.
To call the car method. Where is the car method? Is anyone is watching that here is having a method that name is a car? No, we are creating an object of that car class, that car my car equals to new car. My car dot honk. Where is that honk method is available?
that is
Honk.
in the parent class, vehicle class of the vehicle.
That is in the honk public void. That public void honk. We are calling that honk method that is not available in that car class, that is not available in that subclass, that is available in the parent class. And here we are another one thing we are doing, system.out.println that my car brand plus space my car dot model name. That means what? My car dot brand. Where is that brand? That brand is also in the vehicle class, that the in the super class. So that time we are, by using the object of name of that object, we are calling the method and that variable name with whatever in the whatever in available in the superclass, by using the object of that class. Okay, understood everyone? What we
Yes,
have
sir.
done
Yes,
in
sir.
that how and how we are doing that inheritance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. And why and when to use inheritance? It is useful code reusability, reuse attributes and methods of an existing class when you are creating a new class. Suppose you are working in a project, and that method you want to, that brand variable and that hong method I want to use it many times. If you are not doing that inheritance, that means you need to write that code many times. But when you are inheriting that, that means you are extracting all the methods and the variables to that another class. You can, when you can do that, you would have that thing that you can do, you can inherit it to the another class. That time that code reusability is that code is became so less, because otherwise if you want to use other
Then
in
I have to
terms of
overwrite that.
that time, no, suppose that vehicle class is not available, forget about that vehicle class is not available, that suppose is available, but you want to use another that brand variable and that hong method. That times what you need to do, that times you need to write it in that in the class car, you need to write it again.
Yes.
That time you need to write it again, but that without writing that two lines, that protected string brand equals to 4, then public void, without writing that two lines of code, not only that two lines of code, that honk method have some that string output also. without writing the 3-4 lines of code, that put 1 2 3 4 5 lines of code, just using that extend keyword, you are able to access that properties, and that is the inheritance. কোন print that system.out.println, what is that? That method having a body or having a block, and that method is the void type. That means that will not return anything, that it will not return any integer or anything. So what we are doing, just we have created a method, and that curly braces, that is the block of that method. Within that block, we are doing that system.out.println, that we are just printing some messages without, just because that public, this is not a return, this method have no return type. That means that method have no return type, that means that is a void, because this is a void method. So what we are doing, that we are just printing a message, that system, using that system.out.println, that to name, that to string. Okay, so anyone wants to note down that code? Everyone please note down that code. ঠিক আছে,
Doing, just a minute, doing.
ওকে,
ওপরে তোলো একটু, দেখতে পাচ্ছি না।
is it okay?
No, no, it's not okay. Now okay.
Okay, let me know when you have complete. And everyone please note down that object oriented concept, that is the most important question of in interview. That interview will ask you that what is the oops concept and what is the oops concept are. That means there are 7 object oriented concept, and that 4, that abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism and inheritance, that 4 is the most important. That composition, association and aggregation, those are also an object oriented concept. There are 7 object oriented concept. Abstraction.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, why multiple inheritance is not allowed in Java?
No, multiple inheritance in Java is not available. We can't do multiple inheritance in Java, but of classes.
Why?
I don't know. That is the Java concept, that why Java did not allowed to do that multiple inheritance of classes, but we can do multiple inheritance of interfaces.
Object.
Of interfaces.
Interface.
Interface.
Okay.
Abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, composition, association, aggregation. Is it done? Have that code have noted down?
Just a minute. I'm just doing the models privacy.
প্রথম চারটে।
Okay, done.
Okay. Last line. লিখে নাও তাড়াতাড়ি। Object, that is that concept is that object oriented program. To OOPS means object oriented programming concept. That polymorphism. Another concept is that polymorphism. Java polymorphism. Polymorphism means many forms, and it occurs when we have many classes that are related to each other by inheritance. Like we specified in the previous chapter that inheritance, let us inherit attributes and method from another class. That just now we have done. Polymorphism uses those methods to perform different tasks. This allows us to perform a single action in different ways. Polymorphism uses those methods to perform different tasks. Polymorphism is also using the same method, that same kind of method, to perform the different task. This allows us to perform a single action in different ways. Let's directly see the example. That class animal, public void animal sound, that having a method and just simple message that system.out.println that and the animal makes a sound. And there is another class, that class pig extends animal. That animal class is the parent class, that class pig is the subclass, and that pig class is extending, that means inheriting that animal class. That means we are able to use that public void animal sound method. And we are doing public void animal sound system dot that the pig says we. Another class, that class dog extends animal public void animal sound. That means not only the pig class, that class pig is extending that that the animal class. There is another class is class dog, that class dog is also extending all the values is available in the animal class. And one thing what we are doing, that public, that in the superclass public void that animal sound method, that message the animal makes a sound, well already we have defined. When we are extending animal in the pig class, that time we are overwriting the message, that animal sound, that message that pig says we, that message that have been already overridden. That means that we have overwritten it. And in the dog class, there is also that dog class is also extending that animal class, and here the message also have been changed. That means what is the basical difference of that inheritance and that polymorphism? That means in the inheritance we are extending that only in one class, but in the polymorphism we are extending whatever the properties available in the superclass, that property of that superclass we are extending not only in one class, we can extend it in the more than one class that we are doing. That animal class that having a property or having a method, that animal sound method having that animal class have that method, and we are extending that in the pick class, not in only pick class, that animal class also we are extending in the dog class also. That means what? We are extending the properties of animal class not only in one class, we are extending the properties of animal class more than one class. That is basically the difference in inheritance and the polymorphism. And that code everyone have you understood? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, understood.
হ্যাঁ
Understood.
হ্যাঁ হবে না ওটা, দ্যাট মিনস দ্যাট টাইম ইউ নিড টু ইউজ দ্যাট পলিমরফিজম।
সুভাষ একটু ওপরে চলো ওটা।
হ্যাঁ এক মিনিট একটুখানি।
ওকে। এখানটা
সেম জিনিস হয়ে গেছে নাকি এটা? ঠিক আছে, এটা করে নাও, তারপরে নেক্সট এক্সাম্পল যাব। বলবে নিচে করতে হলে উপরে করতে হলে বলবে। Is it done?
আর নিচে করো। এখানে
লুপ আলাদা জিনিস। লুপকে তুমি ক্লাসকে তুমি করতে পারো না। তুমি পার্টিকুলার একটা কিছু লুপটা ইউজ, অ্যাকচুয়ালি লুপটা কি জিনিস? লুপটা হচ্ছে এমন একটা জিনিস দ্যাট ইজ লাইক আ সার্কেল। লুপ ইজ লাইক আ সার্কেল। দ্যাট সার্কেল don't have any starting point or any ending point. That means that loop will go round and round until and unless তুমি ওইটা কন্ডিশন যতক্ষণ না দেবে, that loop will continue. And ক্লাসের ক্ষেত্রে এখানে what we are doing here, we are extending all the methods on the variables to the another class. Suppose তোমার কাছে ল্যাপটপ রয়েছে, ফোন রয়েছে, হেডফোন রয়েছে, that properties you have, I want to use it. তোমার প্রপার্টিজ গুলো আমি ইউজ করতে চাইছি। আদারওয়াইজ আমি চাইছি যে আমি কোনো ল্যাপটপ কিনবো না, আমি ফোন কিনবো না, আমি হেডফোন কিনবো না, দ্যাট ল্যাপটপ, দ্যাট ফোন, দ্যাট হেডফোন আই ওয়ান্ট টু ইউজ, দ্যাট ইউ হ্যাভ। বা যেমন তোমার বাবার যে প্রপার্টিজ গুলো রয়েছে, সেই প্রপার্টিজ গুলো তো তোমার, সেই প্রপার্টি গুলো তো তোমার ইউজ করার অথরিটি রয়েছে। তোমার বাবার প্রপার্টি গুলো কি অন্য কেউ ইউজ করতে পারবে? তোমার বাবাকে অ্যালাউ করবে, বা তুমি অ্যালাউ করবে, বা কোনো কেউ অ্যালাউ করবে? তোমার বাবার প্রপার্টি তো তোমার তো রয়েছে। সাপোজ তোমার বাবার একটা দোতলা বাড়ি রয়েছে, ঠিক আছে? ধরো তোমার বাবার সল্টলেক সেক্টর 5 একটা দোতলা বাড়ি রয়েছে, আর ধরো সেই রাজারহাট নিউ টাউনে তুমি একটা নতুন দোতলা বাড়ি করেছো। তোমার বাবার পরে শুধু কি তোমার ওই রাজারহাট নিউ টাউনে যে তোমার দুটো যে বাড়িটা রয়েছে সেটা কি শুধু তোমার, নাকি সেক্টর 5 এটাও তোমার? তুমি অবভিয়াসলি ওটাকে দাবি করবে। দ্যাট মিনস কি হচ্ছে জিনিসটা, যে ওই প্রপার্টিটা প্লাস তোমার প্রপার্টিটা দুটো একসঙ্গে মার্জ করছে, এক্সটেন্ড করছে। হয়ে গেছে নোট ডাউন করা? ওকে, সো উই আর গোয়িং টু দ্য নেক্সট এক্সাম্পল। there is another example is class animal having a method is class sound, and that class is the same thing is that animal class is extending in the, that pig class is extending animal class, that dog class is extending also animal class, and there is another class having that class main public static void main string args. And what is that example? In that previous example we have just show you the way how we are doing that in that inheritance, sorry, that polymorphism, and that is the that we haven't called, we have only extend, that we have only extend whatever the properties in that animal class, that properties of animal class we have extended in the pig class, and we have updated the update that messages, and another in the dog class we have also extend that animal class, but we didn't called any method or anything in that example. That complete we have completed that class main, that having a main method, and we have created a method object that animal class, that is that animal class another. This is the object animal class having animal, my new animal, my animal equals to new animal, and this is that another object that my pig equals to my new pig. That means that is the object of that pig class. This is the way that we are creating when animal my pig equals to new pig and animal my dog equals to new dog. That class name, that is the superclass, and that class name is the subclass. That pig and that animal, that is the that animal class, but just because we are extending the animal class to the pig class and to the dog class, that means we can create an object by that way, that animal my pig equals to new pig and animal my dog equals to new dog. That means that animal class we are mentioning that parent class, and here we are mentioning the subclass or the child class. That way we have first of all that animal class, that is that the object animal my animal equals to new animal, that is the object of that main super that animal class. Animal my pig equals to new pig, that means that is that my pig is that object of pig class, and animal my dog equals to new dog, that means that my dog is the object of dog class, because there are three classes. One is the animal, and there are another two classes available here is pig class and dog class. That two classes is extending or inheriting or the that all the properties of animal. And by using that object, when we are calling that my animal dot animal sound, that means that will return you that message, my animal sound, that animal sound we are calling my animal. By using my animal is the object of animal class. By using that object we are calling that animal sound method, that animal class, that the class animal having a method is animal sound. When we are by using the object of that animal class and that animal sound that method, that means it will return you that message, that animal, the animal makes a sound. After we have created also a object of that pig class, and what is the name of that object? That is the my pig, and my pig dot animal sound, that my pig having also we are updating the messages that pig says we. That means when we are calling that or by using the object of that pig class, and that animal sound, that name of that method, that my pick dot animal sound, that means that will return you that message. That message is available in the pick class, or you have updated in the pick class. That means that when you are calling using that pick class object with that method name, that means that time it will return you that message. And in the last, my dog dot animal sound, that dog class also we have created a object for that dog class, that is the my dog. And when you are calling using that object, that my dog dot animal sound, that time it will return you that dog says that message. That means what is happening? By using that object, we can return by calling the same method. That name of that method can be same, but that message is different. So how Java will identify that which one we are calling by using the object name. By using the object name, when you are calling that object of that animal class, that means it will return you the message is available in the animal class. When you are using the object of pick class, that time that by using that object it will return you that message, that message you have updated in the pick class. And using the object of the dog class and that method name, whatever the method name is, that suppose that method name is same, but you are calling using that object of the dog class. And just because you are calling by the dog class object, that time that it will return you the dog says that message. Understood everyone what we have done? And that is the way. Another time, like in the previous session, we have created an object of a class like that animal, my animal equals to new animal. But here we are creating object a little bit a different way. How? That animal, because that animal is the parent class or the superclass. Using the superclass, by just because we are inheriting, we are extending that animal class to the pig class and the dog class. That means we can create object by this way. Animal, that name of that object can be anything, equals to new pig, that is that new, that then the class name, that class name that you want to create an object for. Understood everyone? Are you getting everyone?
Yes, understood.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
So anyone have any problem? That example everyone understood now? Okay, so note it down. I will, you have already noted it. Just note it, that main class, that class main, public static void main string out, that is the main class. And then we are creating 3 objects for the 3 classes, that is, and then we are calling the object name and that method name. And look, my animal is is the object of animal class, then that animal sound. My pig is the object of pig class. Just because we are mentioning the object name, that time Java will understood that which class having method my animal sound you are calling, you are trying to call, because that animal sound method have different messages in the different classes. In that animal class, that method animal sound, you have passed a different message. In the pig class, that animal sound method, you have passed a different message. And in the dog class, in the animal sound method, you have passed another message. Different message you have passed in the different classes. So how you will differentiate it? That you can, by using the creating that object and using that object name, you can specify that which one you are calling actually. Understood? Note it
Yes,
down. Okay, note it down. Is it done, everyone? And this is an important question: why and when to use inheritance and polymorphism? And what is the difference between an inheritance and polymorphism? Everyone have understood, right? Java inner class. In Java, it is also possible to nest classes, a classes within a classes, inner class. That nested for loop we have done by using for loop under for loop we have done previously, like that classes under classes. That is a basically a inner class or the nested class. The purpose of nested class is to group classes that belong together, which makes your code more readable and maintainable. To access the inner class, create an object. Okay, like that. What we have done in that example, what is the inner class or the nested class? Inner class or the nested class in the previous example, like for loop, there is a for loop. Within that for loop, another for loop is there. Like that, classes, that class, outer class, having a variable integer x equals to 10. And look, this is the class block, that curly braces and that curly braces. Within that class body, there is another class, is class inner class. And this is the outer class. That actually it says that not only the name, that class is the outer class and that class is the inner class. That main class, that means main class means within that class, that is the class, that is the outer class, and that class is under the class is inner class, called inner class. Class outer class having a variable integer x equals to 10, and class inner class having name is the inner class. Not only the name is inner class, it is actually called inner class. Integer y equals to 5. That is simple. And that's That two classes are the simple classes, don't have any main method. So we need to create another class with the having a main method. So what we are doing, public class main, public static void main string args, that main method, that is the syntax, and within that block, outer class my outer equals to new outer class, outer class dot inner class my inner equals to my outer dot new inner class. When you are creating an object of a inner class, this is the object that outer class my outer equals to new outer class. This is the object of class outer class, and outer class dot inner class my inner equals to my outer dot new inner class. This is the syntax when you are creating a object for a inner class. First of all, you need to write the name of that outer class, then you need to dot, then name of the inner class, then object name equals to my outer dot. That means that my outer is what? That my outer is the object of outer class dot new inner class dot new keyword, then the name of that inner class. This is the way you can create an object of an inner class. Create an object for an outer class is like a same. First of all, you need to give the name of the class, then the object name, then equals to the new keyword, then again that class name. But when you are creating an object for an inner class, that times first of all you need to mention the outer class name, then dot, then inner class name. Then you need to give a object name. That object name can be anything equals to that. First of all, when you are, and another thing you need to remember, when you are creating an object for an inner class, before that you need to create an object for an outer class, because without the object of a outer class you can't create an object for an inner class, because this is the syntax. Name of that outer class dot name of that inner class, then the object name, then equals to name of that object of outer class, that is my outer dot new keyword, and then the class name, that the inner class name. Understood? And what we are doing, system dot out dot println my inner dot y, that my inner is the object of inner class, plus my outer dot x, that means the my outer is the object of outer class, and dot x is the variable, that variable is in the outer class, and dot y, that is available in the y variable is available in the inner class. Okay, that is the basically inner class, that classes under a classes, class under a class or a nested class. অ্যাডভান্টেজ এগুলো রয়েছে, যখন প্রজেক্টে কাজ করবে তাহলে বুঝতে পারবে না। যেমন নেস্টেড ফর লুপে যেরকম অ্যাডভান্টেজ রয়েছে, এগুলো নিশ্চয়ই কিছু অ্যাডভান্টেজ রয়েছে। Understood everyone? How we are creating what is the inner class, and how we can create an object of a outer class, and how we can create an object of a inner class. Understood everyone? So please note it down. Okay.
Writing down.
Okay. Always remember, before creating a object of an inner class, you need to create an object of that outer class first, because in the times of object creation, that object name of that outer class is needed. বুঝতে পেরেছো তো? What will be the output? না, what is the y and x? হ্যাঁ, that y is what? y টা কি? integer integer তো data type, y টা কি? y is the variable name, that is y is the name of that very integer type, int is the type of that variable, y is the variable name, x is the variable name. That variable name can be anything. হ্যাঁ, because why because my inner is okay, why? Because my inner is the object of inner class and y is available in the inner class. না, no, are you extending? তুমি কি ওটাকে পলিমরফিজম বা ইনহেরিটেন্স ইউজ করছো, এক্সটেন্ড করছো আউটার ক্লাস কি ইনার ক্লাসের মধ্যে? সেই ক্ষেত্রে হতো, কিন্তু এটা কোনো পলিমরফিজম না, ইনহেরিটেন্স না। দিস ইজ আ সিম্পল ইনার ক্লাস অর দ্যাট দিস ইজ আ সিম্পল নেস্টেড ক্লাস। Private inner class. Unlike a regular class, an inner class can be private or protected. If you don't want outside objects to access the inner class, declare the class as private. That means, unlike the regular class, that means this is তুমি যদি like if you are not like to create a class like regular class, that you want to create a class, so outside objects cannot access your inner class, that time you can mention that as private. That means unlike a regular class, in inner class can be private and protected. If you don't want outside objects to access the inner class, declare the class as private, like that. That class, that class is outer class, and that private class, inner class, is the nested class of outer class or the inner class of outer class, and that class we have make private. When you have make private, public class main, public static void main string args, then outer class my outer equals to new outer. Outer class, that is the main simple object creation of inner class and outer class, like the previous and simple thing. But just because that inner class is a private class, that time you will get error, because that class is that outer class dot inner class have private access to outer class inner class my inner equals to, that time that will give you an error, because that your inner class you have made it private. Understood? না, প্রাইভেট সাপোজ দেখো এখানে কি করছো, class outer class, and that private class is the inner class of outer class, but that outer class, inner class, and that class main, that public class main is the different class. That outer class is the different class. That inner class that you have made it private, that is a different class. Just because that is a different class and you want to access that class variable in the another class, that is not possible. If you want to create an when that class outer class, if you are creating a main method and then you are creating an object of that inner class, if you call that y equals that value of y, that times it will return. Yeah, private, that means when you have mentioned a class as private, that time that private class is not accessible by the other classes. Okay, that in here you can use that private class in that outer class, that is the subclass, or that is the parent class. that outer class, you can, within the outer class you can access that inner class, but without any other class, that class main is not able to access that inner class, because this is a private. When you have mentioned any class as private, that private class is not accessible by any other class. That means that class is become private. Understood? Static inner class. What is the static keyword? I hope you have know, because I have told you many times. Class outer class integer x equals to 10. Static class inner class integer y equals to 5. That previous class we have made it private. That class we have made it static class. And we have created that outer class dot inner class, that we have created an inner class. Okay, that we have created an object of that inner class, and system dot out dot println my inner dot y output will be just like static attributes and method. A static inner class does not have access to member of the outer class. This is a simple example of a static class. Do you need to note it down, or should I go to the next example? Hello, hello everyone.
Yes, sir. No, sir. I will not put it.
Hmm. হ্যাঁ, এখানে করেনি। দ্যাট মিন্স আমি যেটা বলেছিলাম যে ফার্স্ট অফ অল ইউ নিড টু ক্রিয়েট অ্যান অবজেক্ট of a outer class. Without creating an object of a outer class, by using the name of the class outer class, you can create an object of a inner class. That outer class dot inner class my inner, okay, then equals to what in the previous example he was doing, that first of all equals to then the name of that outer class object, then dot new inner class, right? But here we are creating directly the inner class object. That time outer class dot inner class my inner equals to new outer class dot inner class. বুঝতে পারছো না, বুঝতে পারছো না? হ্যাঁ, so should I go to the next step? Okay.
Yes, sir.
It is accessing outer class from inner class. We can access the outer class from inner class. How? Class outer class equals to having a variable integer x equals to 10, and that class inner class is public int my inner method. That inner class we have created a method having a return type is integer. That within that inner class we have created a method that have a integer return type, and within that method block we are returning x. Why x? That x is available in the outer class, and that method my inner method have integer return type. Why that integer return type? Because we want to return x, and x is that name of that variable is a integer type. We want to return integer type variable. That time, that just because we are returning, we want to return a integer type variable. For that we have give that return type as integer and return x. And what we are doing, public class main, public void main string args. Outer class, we have created an object for the outer class, and we have created an object for the inner class. And then what we are doing, system.out.println object of that inner class dot my inner method. Using that object name, we are calling that method is available. We have created is my inner method. We have created in the inner class using the object, and we are calling the method. So it will directly return you the value of x. Understood? And in the previous example, we have told you that before creating an object of an inner class, you need to create an outer class. No, that was wrong. You can create an object of an inner class by, this is the after creating, when you have created an object of an outer class, after creating an object of an outer class, this is the way you can create an object of a inner class. Outer class name dot inner class name, then object of that name of that, or no, name of that object of the inner class equals to name of the object of a outer class dot new inner class, name of new, and then the inner class name. But when you are want to create directly, you want to create an object for the inner class, that is the syntax: outer class dot inner class, outer class name dot inner class name, then name of that object equals to new keyword, then outer class name dot inner class name. This is the way to you can create a object for a inner class directly. So that is the difference. Okay. Class outer class, you want to note it down? If you want, anyone want to note it down, please tell me. Otherwise, I will go to the next. কোথায়? System dot out. What we are doing, we are doing the value acre. Basically, that example is for accessing outer class in the from inner class. That means এই ইনার ক্লাস থেকে আমি আউটার ক্লাসের মেথড ভেরিয়েবলকে অ্যাক্সেস করব। সো কি করে করব? উইথিন দ্যাট ইনার ক্লাস আমরা একটা মেথড ক্রিয়েট করেছি, পাবলিক ইন্ট মাই ইনার মেথড। পাবলিক ইন্ট মাই ইনার মেথড, দ্যাট মিনস that method will return have a return type is integer. Previously আমরা দেখছিলাম the method have a void method, that means that will not return anything. That time what we are doing, system.out.println, we are passing a message. But that method having, we have mentioned a integer type return. that will return you a integer type. Why integer type? Because that we are what basically in that example what we are doing, accessing the outer class from inner class. That means এই inner class থেকে আমরা outer class এর ভেরিয়েবল বা ডেটা যা আছে সেটাকে অ্যাক্সেস করব। and outer class এ এখানে কি আছে? সিম্পল একটা ইন্টিজার টাইপ ভেরিয়েবল আছে, সিম্পল একটা ইন্টিজার টাইপ ভেরিয়েবল আছে এই ইনার আউটার ক্লাসের মধ্যে। আর এই ইন্টিজার টাইপ ভেরিয়েবলটাকে যদি আমি ইনার ক্লাসের মধ্যে অ্যাক্সেস করতে চাই ইউজিং দ্য মেথড, তাহলে আমাকে কি করতে হবে? জাস্ট বিকজ দ্যাট ভেরিয়েবল ইজ দ্য ইন্টিজার টাইপ, দ্যাট মিনস দ্যাট মেথড উইল হ্যাভ টু বি আ রিটার্ন টাইপ অ্যাজ ইন্টিজার। তাই জন্য এটা ইন্টিজার টাইপ রিটার্ন, তাই ইন্টিজার টাইপ রিটার্ন করার জন্য আমি ইন্ট দিয়েছি। ইফ দ্যাট আউটার ক্লাস এক্স ইজ যদি এটা স্ট্রিং হতো, দ্যাট টাইম আমি এই রিটার্ন টাইপটা স্ট্রিং মেনশন করতাম। আদারওয়াইজ এখানটায় ইন্টিজার দিয়েছি, ইন্টিজার ভেরিয়েবল টাইপ দিয়েছি, আর এখানে যদি আমি স্ট্রিং টাইপ দিই, দ্যাট উইল জেনারেট এরর বিকজ string cannot return a integer, integer cannot return a string. তো বেসিক্যালি যখন আমি জিনিসটাকে রিটার্ন করতে চাইছি দ্যাট টাইম দ্যাট ভেরিয়েবল টাইপ ভেরিয়েবল টাইপটা তো সেম হতে হবে, সেই কারণে আমরা ইন্টিজার টাইপ ভেরিয়েবল দিয়েছি। এন্ড রিটার্ন করছি কি? জাস্ট বিকজ ইট হ্যাভ আ ইন্টিজার টাইপ রিটার্ন টাইপ, ইন্টিজার রিটার্ন টাইপ, দ্যাট টাইম উই আর রিটার্নিং x, that x is what? That x is available in the is available in the outer class. করে দিলাম, এখানে কাজ শেষ। এবার that outer class, that inner class is the different class, like a simple class. এই ক্লাস আউটার ক্লাস বা ইনার ক্লাসের কোনো মেন মেথড নেই, that public static void main. So basically আমরা কি করেছি, আরেকটা another class we have created, that is the public class main, and we have mentioned that public static void main string out. That means we have made that class as a main class, actual main class, not only the name is main. With that class we have mentioned as a public static void main. And how Java will identify that there are many classes is available, but which class is the main class? By having that method, that public static void main string out, that class having that main method, that class will become a main class, actual main class. And within that main class we want to access the outer class and the inner class. For that we need to create an object of that outer class and inner class, because those classes are the different classes, those classes are the different classes, and that class are the different classes. For that you need to create an object of an outer class, and you need to create an object of an inner class. Okay, after creating an object of an outer class and an inner class, just simply now after creating an object, now you have that authority to use that classes by using the object name of that classes. So what we are doing, system.out.println my inner, that my inner is the object of the inner class, and then dot my inner method, that method is available where is that method is available? Why you have created that my inner method? Tell me. এই my inner মেথডটা তুমি কোথায় ক্রিয়েট করেছো? কোথায়? কোন সেকেন্ড ক্লাস? inner class. Just because that method is available in the my inner class, that means তোমাকে inner classের অবজেক্টের থ্রু মেথডটাকে কল করতে হবে। Is it possible that method is available in the inner class, but you are calling the method using the outer object, outer class object? It is not possible. Just because that inner method, my inner method is available in the inner class, that means you can call that method by using that object of that class, that inner class. So what we have done, that my inner class dot my inner method, my inner is the object of that inner class, My inner method is available in the inner class. Understood? Java abstraction. Java abstraction, another object-oriented concept. So how many we have done? Inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and that abstraction. Java abstraction. Abstract class and method. Data abstraction is the process of hiding certain details and showing only essential information to the user. Abstraction can be achieved with either abstract class or interfaces. The abstract keyword is a non-access modifier. What is the access keyword? A abstract keyword. The abstract keyword is a non-access modifier used for classes and methods. Abstract class is a restrict, that is the definition. Abstract class and that abstract method. Abstract class and that abstract method we have learned previously. In the previous session we have already learned about the abstract class and the abstract method. Here we will learn it a little bit deeper. Abstract class is a restricted class that cannot be used to create object. That means a restricted class. An abstract class, we can't create an object like a normal class. We can create an object of a normal class, ordinary class. But when you have created an abstract class by using the abstract keyword, you just mentioning the before creating the class, just mention it abstract keyword, that class will become abstract class. When you have created an abstract class, you can't create an object of that abstract class. And abstract method can only be used in an abstract class, and it does not have a body. The body is provided by the subclass. That means a abstract class, when you have created an abstract class, only for that abstract class you can create an abstract method. You can't create an abstract method for a simple normal class. You can't create an abstract method. That means abstract method can only a abstract class can have a abstract method. Simple definition, that can only abstract class can have a abstract method. We can't create an abstract method of a normal class. And by using the abstract keyword, we can create a class abstract, or by using an abstract keyword, we can make a method as abstract. Like that. Abstract class anyway. Just because we are using that abstract keyword before creating a class, that means that class can become an abstract class, and we can't create object of an abstract class. And public abstract void animal sound, we are creating a method just like same, just the way we are creating an method, we can in the same way we can create a method, just we are adding that abstract keyword before creating the method. Public abstract void animal sound, that method, that abstract method, abstract class, we can't create object. Abstract method don't have any body. Every method have a body, but when you are creating a normal method that have a body, like here public void sleep, this is, we haven't mentioned that abstract keyword. That means this is a normal method, and that normal method have a body, that curly braces open and that closes. That portion, that block is the body of that sleep method. But when you are mentioning abstract keyword, when you are creating a method, that means that method is became abstract method, and that abstract method don't have any body. That body, you can provide that body by the subclass. You can provide just abstract method don't have any body. So every method should have body. Otherwise, if you don't have any body of a method, so how you can define a variable or anything else you within the if you want to pass a message, or if you want to return something, how you can do? Yes, you can do a abstract method, you and provide a body to the subclass. From the example above, it is not possible to create an object of an animal class because this is a abstract method. Animal my object equals to new animal will generate an error because this is an abstract class and we can't create object of an abstract class. To access the abstract class, it must be inherited from another class. Let's convert the animal class we used in the polymorphism chapter in the abstract class. Remember from inheritance chapter that we use the extend keyword to inherit from a class. So let's see the example. Abstract class. Abstract class animal. That animal class we have made it abstract class. Public abstract void animal sound. That means that method we have made it as abstract. Public void sleep, and that sleep is also a method having a body. That is the animal sound is the abstract method. Just because this is an abstract method, that method don't have any body. But that sleep is the regular method or the ordinary method. Just because this is a normal method, that sleep is the normal method, that method have a body, and that is the void method that don't have any return type or any integer or any string or char or anything. So we are just simply passing a message system.out.println zzz. And in the theory part, we can create a body for an abstract method within the subclass. That means class pig extend animal. That animal is the parent class. That pig class is the child class or the subclass. Child class or the this is that animal class is the parent class. We are extending the animal class, that abstract class animal class we are extending in the pig class. That means from the pig class we can access the methods, that abstract method and that regular method. We can access that two method, abstract method and that sleep method, and the sleep animal sound abstract animal sound method and that sleep method. That two method is available in the animal method. That two method we can now access in the pig class because that pig class is extending abstract animal class. When that means that pig class is became the subclass of the animal class. And just because that pig class is the subclass of that animal class, that means now we can give a body to that animal sound method, because our abstract method we can give a body of that abstract method by their subclass, and that pig class is the subclass is of animal class. That means in the pig class we can give a body to that animal sound. So we are giving a body to that animal sound abstract method into that pig subclass if public void animal sound, and within that curly braces we are passing a message system.out.println that message. And that pig class is the subclass of animal class. that animal class is the abstract class, that pig class is the subclass of animal class. That two classes don't have that main method, so we are creating another method is class main, and that class main having that main method, and we are creating an object of that pig class. That pig class we can create an object. We can't create an object of that animal class because that animal class is the abstract class, and we can't create an object of a abstract class. That's why every time, each and every time, when you are creating an abstract class, you have to extend that abstract class to their subclasses. By extending the abstract class to their subclasses, you can access the abstract class. Because if you want to use, because we can't create an object of that abstract class, and without creating an object of that class, we can't access the class. And here that animal class is the abstract class. That means we need to, just because this is a abstract class, until and unless we are not extending that abstract class to the subclass, after extending that abstract class to the subclass, then you need to create an object of that subclass. By using that object of that subclass, you can access the method, and the variable is available in the abstract class. Like here, class main having a method, main method, that means that main class is the actual main class. Then we are creating a object of a pig class, of the pig class pig. My pig equals to my new pig, creating a pig object. By using that object name of that pig, my pig dot animal sound, that animal sound is available in the pig class, and that animal sound is the abstract method. That body we have provided in the pig class, because that pig class is became the subclass of animal class. That animal sound is the abstract method. That abstract method is available in the animal class, and just because that animal sound is the abstract method, that abstract method don't have a body. That body we can give in the subclass. Like here we have give a body of that abstract method in the subclass, and here using the name of that object, we are calling the abstract method. And my pig dot sleep, that sleep is also available in the abstract class, but that sleep is the normal class, and that normal class have a body, so we have pass a message zzz. And by using that object name, we are calling the sleep method also. So what will be the output? That output will be that animal sound having a message, the pig says that message, and sleep will return zzz. Understood everyone? Hello,
Yes, I understood. Yes.
anyone have any problem, any if anyone are not getting that thing, please tell me, I will explain it again.
Acha, abstract method don't have any return type, huh?
Abstract method don't have any return type.
Yes.
Can have also a return type.
How?
Yes, we can create an abstract method with a return type. No. Sorry, I am wrong. An abstract method can't have any return type because this is the abstract method that don't have any
Yes,
body. Yeah. I
yes,
was
yes,
wrong. I was wrong. You are right. Abstract method don't have any return type. That abstract method have a return type, only a void return type.
yes.
তুমি বুঝতে পেরেছো নাকি বুঝিয়ে দেবো? নোট করে নিয়েছো? Everyone have noted down? This is a very important example. If you can understand that example, all that example I am showing all to all of you, that thing, if you are getting that example, that means you are learning. You can at least give that interview properly, and you can work in your professional life also perfectly if you are all getting the thing.
আমি জিজ্ঞেস করছি যে মানে কোন প্রিন্টটা আগে করবে সেটা কিরকম ভাবে ইয়ে করছে
কোন প্রিন্টটা আগে দিয়েছো, যে প্রিন্টটা আগে দেবে সেই প্রিন্টটা আগে করবে।
সেটা জিজ্ঞেস করছে মানে আমি কলার যেটা আগে দেবো সেটাই আগে print করবো।
হুম।
এর সঙ্গে
নো কোনো ব্যাপার নেই। তুমি যেটাকে আগে কল করছো সেটা আগে দেবে, তবে কি সেটা আগে প্রিন্ট হবে। Everyone have noted? আমি এসো নেক্সট যাবো।
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Noted.
Yes. Layer Java interfaces. Interfaces, another way to achieve abstraction in Java is with interfaces. And interfaces is completely abstract class that is used to group related method with empty bodies. Like example, interface animal, that interface is like a class. Interface is like a class, and interface that just we are creating a class like class animal. Here we are mentioning interface animal. Instead of class, we are writing interface animal, public void animal sound. Interface method does not have a body. That method is the interface method. That interface method is also a, that means like here an interface is a completely abstract class. Interface is like a class, but it is like a abstract class. Like a abstract class can only we can create an object of an abstract class. Like abstract method don't have any body. Like a interface is like a class, but we can't create object of an interface, and that method is available in that interface. That is also like a abstract method. That method also don't have any body. Public void run interface method, actually that all are the method of that within that interface. That means that all are the interface method, and that is like a in abstract method, and that don't have a body.
ক্লাসের বদলে ইন্টারফেস লেখা থাকে।
ক্লাসের বদলে instead of class we are writing that interface animal. And interface is like a abstract class, or interface is like a class, but interface is like a abstract class. Like abstract class, we can't create object of a abstract class. Like that, we can't create an object of that interface also. And like the abstract method don't have any body, like the same is interface method also don't have any body. Interface animal
কিন্তু সাব ক্লাসের মধ্যে
হ্যাঁ
ইন্টারফেস
হ্যাঁ same. Interface animal, public void animal sound, that interface method don't have any body. Public void sleep also an interface method. And class pig implements like the previous one, just because that animal was a class, so we are extending. That is that animal now is we are mentioning as interface, not as class. When we are inheriting a interface, that time we will use, in terms of extend, we'll use implement. Instead of extend, we will use implements. That time that class pig implements animal. That interface animal we are implementing to the pig class. Instead of extend, we are using implements, because that animal, in the previous example, that animal was a class, but now in that example that animal is not a class, that is a interface, because we have mentioned that as interface animal. Just because this is an interface, we can't extend an interface, we can implement an interface. So instead of the extend keyword, we will use that implements. Class pig implements animal. Public void animal sound, like the same abstract method, we can create a body, we can give a body to that abstract method by using the subclass. Like that pig, that class pig is became the subclass of that animal interface. So we can give a body to that interface method is animal sound. Public void animal sound, we are giving a body to that interface method, and we are passing a message. And also that public void sleep is also a interface method. Here we are also giving a body to that sleep method, and within that we are creating that main class, having a main method, creating an object of that pig class, because that pig is the class. Pig is not the interface. Animal is the interface, and interface of, we can't create an object of an interface, but we can create an object of a class, and that pig class is the subclass of that animal interface. So we can create an object of that pig class. We are creating an object of that pig. My pig equals to new pig, and using that object name we are calling that animal sound and that sleep method. Those two are the interface method. Understood?
Yes, understood.
Okay. Anyone want to note it down, or because both are the same example, like just only that was the animal class, that was the animal interface, you can ignore it by note it down by, so we can go to the next example.
ইন্টারফেসটা মানে মানে আলাদাটা কি হচ্ছে বা মানে ইউজটা কি হচ্ছে
ইন্টারফেসের ইউজটা হচ্ছে জাভাতে মাল্টিপল ইনহেরিটেন্স আমরা করতে পারি, দেখবো পরে এক্সাম্পলটা যখন দেখবো। মাল্টিপল ইনহেরিটেন্স অফ ক্লাসেস, যখন মাল্টিপল ইনহেরিটেন্স মানে ধরো একটা ক্লাসকে, ঠিক আছে, অনেকগুলো ক্লাসের মধ্যে আমরা ইনহেরিট করছি, 3টে 4টে 5টা ইনহেরিট করছি, সেটা আমরা ক্লাসের করতে পারি না, কিন্তু আমরা ইনহেরিটেন্সের করতে পারি। সেই যখন আমরা একটা ক্লাস ইন্টারফেসকে যখন আমরা মাল্টিপল বারে ইনহেরিট করব, অন্য 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 ক্লাসে যখন একবারে 2বার 3বার 4বার 5বার যখন এক্সটেন্ড করব বা ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করব, তখন আমরা ইন্টারফেসের করতে পারি। সেটা আমরা যদি ক্লাসের করি তাহলে হবে না। আমরা আসছি যখন এক্সাম্পলে দেখব। Interface note, that is the very important note. Like abstract class, interface cannot be used to create object. Okay, interface method don't have a body. The body is provided by the implement class or the subclass. On implementation of an interface, you must override all of its methods. Interface methods are by default abstract and public. Interface attributes are by default public, static, final. An interface cannot contain a constructor. Constructor is what? What is a constructor? Tell me.
Same name of the class is a special method.
Is a special method having a name same as a class. But interface is not a class, is like a class, but this is not a class. So just because this is not a class, that means it don't have a constructor. Why and when to use interface? To achieve security, hide certain details and only show the important details of an object. Java does not support, এই যে বলছিলাম, Java does not support multiple inheritance. A class can only inherit from one superclass. However, it can be achieved with interface because the class can implement multiple interfaces. Note, to implement multiple interface, separate them with the comma. Okay, এই এক্সাম্পল,
ইনহেরিটেন্সের সময় ইন্টারফেস
হ্যাঁ এক্সাম্পল আসবো, এইটা নোট ডাউন, এভরিওয়ান প্লিজ নোট দ্যাট পয়েন্ট, because that is the important, that is important one. এসিটা কি বন্ধ করে দিয়েছে? এটা চালিয়ে দাও, গরম হচ্ছে।
মাঝে মাঝে বন্ধ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, বন্ধ হয়ে যাচ্ছে।
চলছে?
এখানে এখানে নর্মাল লেখা থাকে, normal লেখা,
হ্যাঁ, সরো সরো তো আসছে।
তাহলে চলছে।
হ্যাঁ, চলছে।
টাইমার করা আছে, টাইমার বাড়ানো। তাহলে স্যার অ্যাবস্ট্রাক্ট আর পলিমরফিজমের মধ্যে ডিফারেন্স কি? মাল্টিপল ইনহেরিটেন্স।
অ্যাবস্ট্রাক্টটা আলাদা, অ্যাবস্ট্রাক্ট আলাদা। অ্যাবস্ট্রাক্ট ইজ দ্য কিওয়ার্ড। ইন্টারফেস আর পলিমরফিজমের মধ্যে ডিফারেন্স রয়েছে। পলিমরফিজম তো তোমার হচ্ছে আলাদা জিনিস। পলিমরফিজম তো ওভাররাইডিং ওভারলোডিং। ইনহেরিটেন্স
মানে অ্যানিমালের আন্ডারে আমি পিকে ইউজ করলাম আর ডগও ইউজ করলাম,
হ্যাঁ,
কিন্তু এর ক্ষেত্রে আমি
অ্যানিমেলের আন্ডারে না, অ্যানিমেলকে আমরা পিগেও এক্সটেন্ড করছি,
হ্যাঁ এক্সটেন্ড করছি,
ডগেও এক্সটেন্ড করছি। হচ্ছে so what is the example? Interface example. Okay, hello everyone, have you noted down complete? So interface, first interface, public void my method, that is the interface name is first interface. Public void my method, that is the interface method. Interface second interface, public void my other method. First interface and second interface, both those are the interfaces, and my method and the my other method, that is the interface method. What we are doing, one class is demo class is implementing two interfaces. In that previous example, that was the class and we are extending only one class. Within a class, we are only extending only one class, but here we are extending two interfaces in a one class. That we can't do. That is the multiple inheritance is not possible of classes. Just because that first interface and second interface, those are the interfaces, that just for that reason, we can implement two interfaces in a single class, but we can't extend two classes in one class. Understood? That is the multiple inheritance. এখানে বেসিক্যালি আমরা কি করছি, একটা ক্লাসের মধ্যে দুটো ইন্টারফেসকে অ্যাট আ টাইম এক্সটেন্ড করে দিচ্ছি। That means that property of first interface and property of second interface, that both the properties of both interfaces we can access in a single class. In the class demo class, we can access all the data of first interface and also can access all the data of second interface. If যদি এগুলো ইন্টারফেস না হয়ে যদি এগুলো ক্লাস হতো, দ্যাট মিনস দুটো ক্লাসের প্রপার্টিকে একটা ক্লাসের মধ্যে আমরা এক্সটেন্ড করতে পারতাম না ইন জাভা। ফর দ্যাট রিজন ইন্টারফেস ইজ important. We can do multiple inheritance of interfaces. We can't do multiple inheritance of classes. So public void my method, that is the interface method in the first interface system. We are giving a body of that my method because my method is available in the first interface, and this is the my method is the interface method. That means that my method don't have any body, and we can provide a body to that my method to the subclass, or with that class we are extending. That means within the demo class we can give the body of that my method. Like the same public void my other method, we can also give the body to that method. And another thing, class main, we are creating object, and by creating an object we are calling the method. Understood? This is the simple example why we can use, why we are using interfaces. বুঝতে পেরেছো? দ্যাট তুমি বলছিলে না ইন্টারফেস কেন আমরা ব্যবহার করবো, এভরিওয়ান প্লিজ নোট ইট ডাউন। এন্ড হোয়াই আমরা কেন ইন্টারফেসের ব্যবহারটা কি, দেখো ক্লাস ডেমো ক্লাস, এর দিকে দেখো স্ক্রিনে, ক্লাস ডেমো ক্লাস ইমপ্লিমেন্টস, দেখো ফার্স্ট ইন্টারফেস সেকেন্ড ইন্টারফেস দুটোকে একসঙ্গে একটা ক্লাসের মধ্যে এক্সটেন্ড করছে তো। কিন্তু প্রিভিয়াসলি আমরা কি দুটো করছিলাম না একটা করছিলাম। যখন আমরা দুটো বা তিনটে চারটে যখন আমরা করব, সেটা আমরা একটা ক্লাসের মধ্যে কি দুটো তিনটে একটার বেশি ক্লাসকে আমরা ডেটাকে আমরা ইনহেরিট করতে পারি না। সেই কারণে আমরা জাভাতে কি করি, আমরা ইন্টারফেস তৈরি করেছি। ইন্টারফেস দিয়ে আমরা মানে মাল্টিপল ইন্টারফেসকে আমরা একটা ক্লাসের মধ্যে এক্সটেন্ড করতে পারি। দ্যাট ইজ দ্য ইউজ অফ ইন্টারফেস। And this is the last topic for today. In the next session, we will start from the Java enums. Everyone, please note down that. After completing that, please let me know. I will close the recording. And
তো the enums এর একটা ক্লাস না, ওই মানে একটা ধরো মান্থ 12 মান্থ আমি লিখছি জানুয়ারি ফেব্রুয়ারি, মানে একটা
set a next.
টোটাল
Yeah, enum class is enum is a
ওই
special class that represents a group of contents. Okay, constants.
এক্লিপসে তো ডিরেক্টলি চলে আসে, মানে ক্লিক
হ্যাঁ,
করলে
যেমন এই যেমন দেখো enum level
হ্যাঁ।
just level my var, এই দেখো এইভাবে করতে হবে, জাস্ট মিডিয়াম তে করতে হবে। সেটা দেখবো নেক্সট ক্লাসে দেখবো, তুমি এটা নোট ডাউন করে নাও। এটা এখানে হয়ে গেছে ইন্টারফেস, ফার্স্ট ইন্টারফেস এন্ড দ্য সেকেন্ড, এটা নোট ডাউন হয়ে গেল, তাহলে নেক্সটে যাব। একটু তাড়াতাড়ি।
যাওয়া এখানে শিখেছেন না কাজে
না না, আমি আগে শিখেছি, আমি ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং শিখে নিয়েছি আবার।
এর আগে আপনি অন্য জায়গায় কাজ করতেন?
হ্যাঁ, আমি এতেই শিখে নিয়ে কলেজেই শিখেছি। আমার ফুল স্ট্যাক জাভা নিয়েই আমাদের, আমি যেখান থেকে করেছি না ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং,
হুম।
আমাদের
আপনার কি CSE ছিল?
সিএস আইটি ছিল। ওখানে আমাদের দুটোর উপরে স্পেশালাইজেশন করাতো, আইদার জাভা নাহলে ডটনেট। ডটনেটের মার্কেট সেরকম ছিল না, মাঝখানে পড়ে গেছিল। আমি জাভাতেই স্পেশালাইজেশন করছি।
অন্যান্য স্ট্রিমের মধ্যে এতটা মানে ব্যাঙ্গলি ব্যাকরণ ছিল না।
বেশ করায় না, না কলেজ টু কলেজ ভ্যারি করে টপিকের উপর। আমাদের কলেজটাইতে বেসিক্যালি আমি যেটা করেছিলাম ওখানে হয়ে গেছে, নোট ডাউন করলে হয়ে গেছে। So hello everyone. So I'm closing the session for today. We will see do the
Okay.
Java enum. Okay. Java enum in the next session.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Bye then.